Okay. Skakane is doing the most, yeah. Skakane is doing the most.
Yeah.
So you coming? Good evening once more. You are listening to Jazz Outside the Box, the space for sonic engagement and host Zuko Yigi, broadcasting live from East London studios. And this is KNR Radio according to you. And I've been saying that Kidumi Tsipego is here with us. And yes, indeed, he is with us. And now we are welcoming him. Budumi. Good evening, Budi.
Good evening, man. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure and a privilege.
Cool. A lot of people know you as someone who was born in East London, but I suppose there's more than that. And by the way, we open up with a beautiful song by Ipupo. Um, it's entitled Singabako, and you happen to be one of the most important people who form that outfit. Please take us through that. Who is Dumi and what are the connections?
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for the kind words. So I'm a musician and improviser, an educator. I play cornet, which is almost like a trumpet. I was born in a little town called Mtata, which is like 200 something kilometers away from East London. Moved to EL when I was around 4 5. Went to school in East London. Went to Sterling High, which is where I got introduced to jazz music, and that's also where I started learning an instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then pursued further studies, albeit incompletely, at UCT. And then during the time I was there, a very powerful political movement was started by the students. Initially, Rhodes Must Fall. The UCT students were pretty fed up with all of the colonialist representation in these institutions because subconsciously it reminds you that you're not welcome in the space and
Yeah.
that the space itself was never created to facilitate you in any way. Rhodes Must Fall was about the dropping of a statue. That escalated to Fees Must Fall, which ended up becoming a very widespread national political movement led by the students. Ipupol Gabigo was birthed from like-minded creatives coming together. And the initial creative idea about the space was very conducive for bright minds to link and share ideas, specifically because I think we're one of the first generations of Black people who've been educated to a level that is comparable to what white people always had access to. So yeah, I think the Fees Must Fall movement is how we ended up with the Popol Gabigo.
Cool. And this album came out this year.
So it's an EP It came out at the end of June. Yeah, it's entitled Kamata. No,
I
no, no,
see.
it's entitled Azania. My
Azania.
bad. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. You were sharing a very significant story, and which, in its entirety, is about issues of representation and how you gave yourselves the freedom you knew or you still know that you deserve and went for it. And here you are now. I mean, some of the things have not fallen, but
Mm.
it's a great positive step towards, the envisaged change. So in Tata, how's it? Because I mean, I was born there myself, so I know that. I mean, the music and the breathing around the creative um, spectrum is not necessarily a thing in terms of resources and facilities. And did you know when you got to East London that this is what you've always wanted to do? Or maybe, like, how was the whole thing? How did you find yourself in that space?
It's actually, yeah, it's a bit of an interesting story because actually only able to become aware of how I was always supposed to do this when I think about it retrospectively. Coming up, I think there was just always like good music around me, like high content music. My mom was like a choir master, and my dad was like a collector of music, so it was always around. I can't say I always knew. I can't say I
Okay.
always knew, but I think on the subconscious level, I was always chasing the music. If it's good, I want to be around it.
Yeah.
And so when I gained the opportunity, I mean, I couldn't understand why I was so excited about it. It's only when I think about it now, looking back, that I'm like, hey, this thing was so obvious, man. This thing was so obvious. I wanted to sing in a choir when it wasn't cool as a dude to sing in a choir, because that was the
Yeah.
only avenue I had to exercise my musicianship. And
Yeah.
then after that, I joined like a West African djembe drum circle because, yeah, that was the only thing that was available in terms of that. And so, if I think about it, as soon as I started playing the trumpet, I just became so obsessed with it. The moment I think I realized I was going to do it forever was at a concert that they hold annually
Yeah.
at Sterling called the May Dance.
Okay.
And so at the end, every music student, including those from the primary school, are all on stage. And yeah, we play a mass band like that. So I think I got an opportunity to play a solo.
Yeah.
And in terms of playing the instrument, I hadn't even been playing for like 2 months yet. But I was just like sort of able to do it. I couldn't understand why, and the response from like the crowd, or the energy that generated, and the power it had like stuck on me. And at that moment, I was like, okay, this is probably what I was supposed to do with my life.
Great stuff. And it's unfortunate that we are not going to get into the depths of the conversation
Mm.
that we want to have. But I would want you to take us through. You are playing a beautiful concert tomorrow. There's a lot that we still need to unpack,
Mm.
and you will agree with me that you still need to come back. You're teasing out some important themes around, the roads and the fees must
Mm.
fall, which really highlights, greatest movement, to be led by students connecting to the students to the class of the 1976, and then so many years later, and then we find another movement. That's a whole conversation for another day, and we're gonna look into how music, has been quite, pivotal in terms of addressing the issues of repression and addressing all these spores. But for now, you're doing an important work tomorrow, and you're playing a beautiful concert. Please take us through.
Oh yeah, man, I'm actually so excited. I feel like it's such a blessing to even be able for it to be possible, man. Even to be able to put on a concert like that in the city, just because, man, we struggled. I'm sure you know as well, but like how hard it's been to facilitate like a a cultural space that embraces art and embraces the beautiful things that we're all able to do. And so this project is close to my heart,
Yeah.
just because it's a way we can give back. It's a way we can honor those who came before us. The great Lulama Kaulana spent about 20 years trying to facilitate and curate artistic spaces that are conducive to like jazz music and just like high level African art. And so, yeah, I'm really appreciative and I'm really keen to play tomorrow with you guys. The theme is Way of the Light, and it's my solo project. Yeah, it's my solo project. The music has been written over like a very long period of time, and it illustrates my journey, and it also serves as a beacon
I
just
see.
to communicate black thought and facilitate healing
Mm.
and love and freedom.
Man, thank you so much. And this is Dumi Pego. Um, yeah, he's one of us here in East London, and he's contributing immensely in the South African jazz vocation. And this weekend he's playing with Dumza Orchestral Ensemble. I mean, he's recorded with Tumi Mkorosi, Group Theory, and he's been doing some stuff with Perhaps. He's been doing some stuff with Putandile Yanana, to name a few. And he's here and he's playing his concert tomorrow. Please pull through. The space is called Legends Creative Hub. It's in Barrier behind BMW. The show starts at 7. Please be there. It's going to be beautiful. And Botsbu Mashilwane is going to be joining us. I see that he's already there. So let me bring him. Let me bring him. Yeah, yeah, he's with us. Budi, we struggle a lot to get you in this space. Good evening, Unjan Budi.
Siyaphila, my brother. Niyaphila.
Okay, I suppose that the volume or something we're not getting you.
Are you not hearing me?
I'm mute.
I did.
Okay,
I
we're gonna get it right. We're gonna get it right. I thought load shedding was only.
No, he must unmute.
Okay, please unmute from your side.
Nazo. Hello. Can you hear me?
Um, I think there's something that's coming.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I think I hear you now.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Oh, good evening. How are you?
Siyaphila, what was opening John?
No, Siapil, it's great hearing from you. I think you're also suffering from load shedding now. You're going to
It is what it is. It is what it is.
cool. But thank you so much for saying yes, and Siabulela, that you're able to join us. It's quite late, and I know how busy you are. You're probably putting together a tour or something. And this is Butsbu Mashilwani, and I'm not going to introduce him any further. I'm going to allow him to us so that we get it from him. Put it over to you. Thanks again.
Greetings to you, my brother, and your viewers as well. Yes, as you have well mentioned, I'm Sibusiso Mashilwane from Epethal in Pumalanga province, but now I'm based in Durban, working at the University of KwaZulu Natal. So, but my journey began in the early 2000 when I joined the Natal Technicon, and then later I went to the University of Rowan University in the United States, and then I came back. But I think I'm mentioning this because a big part of my journey began when I was in the States, when I missed home during the practice block, when I was practicing the piano, and then I realized that,
mm,
man, the way I was playing piano, it really made me feel like I miss home, and then I started to think even deeper into what exactly am I playing on the piano that makes me miss home so much, and then that was the sound of home, so by the time I came back here, I was in pursuit of this sound, and I was like, yes, this is the sound of home that needs to be heard. Hence the studying further, and then I did my masters, of course, and then I started writing music that reflects home. So in many ways, that is who I am. I'm about capturing home in its many nuances and all the national identities that we have in the music. This is who I am. I'm about that. So from 2016, I started writing music, which is up to this far. Now I'm on the seventh album, still
mm.
writing music, but that is well rooted in our local.
Okay. We're trying to just sort out something here.
But another
Would
sound in
you,
there. Yeah,
yeah, no, 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 it's sorted out. Sorry about that.
yeah,
Um, you are speaking about, and I'm gonna mention your album Sounding Home, and which highlights these themes that you are bringing up as we are continuing with the conversation. And those who've been following you will know that you one person who's very, appreciative of culture, is into, and to such an extent that you always have, some shakes down the ankle and dancing to your own tune. So how do you see culture? What is culture to you? And because it is very central to your music, and the titles of your songs are so reflective of culture and they tell stories.
yeah. I see culture as my identity, you know, and that informs my being, even when, for example, like the case that I mentioned when I was in the States, I had to go back to my roots, like what identifies with me, then I realized siyagida thina la ekhaya, you know and
Mm,
that informed our traditions. Then I realized ukuthi la ekhaya we clap, siyacula thina la ekhaya, and we don't do these things as individuals, but in a communal form. Basically,
mm,
I had to look at all these things that informs or that peculiarize us as South Africans and as Africans in our communities. So to me, culture is who we are and is our way of doing, and which then informs what that needs to be embraced. Because if it is not embraced, we are prone to what we are then going to a danger of living other people's cultures when we can embrace our own, you know and we can nature our own, because that is who we are. So, if you were to ask me what is culture, culture is who we are as a people, is how we live, ukuhlonipha lokho esinako esifundiswe ngako, imfundiso zasekhaya. As
yeah,
simple
yeah.
as uma ngabe unikwa something ekhaya, i-culture ithi uyaphaphatha, uyabonga ukuthi you acknowledge that you have been given something.
Mm,
So for me, and that is different from every country and every community, that needs to be embraced and capitalized on. And we've got music as an art form that helps us to
mm.
express all these uniqueness. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure you will agree with me that putting together an album is not an easy thing. But now
Yes.
going on to a second one, third one, fourth one, until the 11th one. It's been a journey. And what do these offerings, mean to you? Because everyone seeks to address a particular thing, and they're written in different registers. And
Yeah.
what is it that keeps you going in throughout all these processes of bringing up all this body of works, and which are quite unique in their, you know, um, stature?
You know, when I look back from when I began, I didn't know. Okay, I when I started in 2016, I had a target that I wanna release every year, and
Okay.
then I must tell you, I'm a strong believer in our Creator, which is our God. You know, and I
Yeah.
believe in verses that says even why should we worry if because begani inyoni, even birds, they do not worry about what they're gonna eat. Who are we as Tiage njengabantu? We are even far important, that
Yeah.
God can look up to us, can look ekusibhekeleleni. That's what I want to mean. Or that's what I want to mean.
Yeah.
So, so when I started, I didn't even know what the music, that I was gonna record then. I started with that EP, and then to me, that EP Amanzolwandle was a way of releasing myself and freeing myself from expectations ukuthi uSibu Mashilwane swinger, because remember I was coming from school. So
Yeah.
Usbu Mashilwane Swinger is a hardball player. And then I started with something far different. And to me, that was the way of
I think.
releasing
Yeah.
myself, and freeing myself, which is what I guess
Yeah.
because I guess you will have here musicians who are also looking up to us, because it's a big task that we need to have, especially as artists. We need to break through from people's expectations of us, and listen to the inner voice that confirms on what music we should be playing and how we should be playing, rather than trying to please or trying to be accepted in particular circles or in particular sounds. That is where I realized, which is an artist, I first needed to free myself. And where did I get that? I saw it from the my brother Glasper, you know, in
Yeah.
how he envisioned jazz and said, "This is jazz. No, this jazz now is taking this direction." To me, it was a man freeing himself, you know,
Yeah.
to his voice and
Yeah.
to his identity at that particular time. So and then I thought to myself, I want to have this kind of a freedom. I don't want to tick boxes and say, did I swing? Did I do this? Did I do this?
Mhm.
Did I take so
Mm.
many choruses of solos? No,
Yeah.
no. I think music is far beyond all these constructs,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people, and there's a reason that God put the music in us, and for particular reasons, and that should be obeyed in its natural forms. So when you look at my album Thomas Olande, that was a freeing album, and then I started with Rotha, which was an album that I did tribute to my mom, and
Yeah.
Nakona, it was also on the same narrative, like be free, do you,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And closer to home to me was now I was trying to look at the Ndebele nuances that informs my music. I had all male singers there, and all male, because being Bega in their traditional forms, in their cultural forms, when Maba Pumengo male
Yeah.
and they sing as males. So to me, I was like resounding those sounds. Fast
Mm.
forward, moving forward to the solo piano. The solo piano was another thing, my brother, and because that's where I really see God at work, because I just sat there on the piano and melodies came, like forms came, and then I was just playing to such an extent. Even now, I can't play any of those songs that are on the solo
Mm.
album, and that's the most successful album, is that solo piano. in all my albums so far in terms of reception. Yeah. So
Yeah.
to me, that is God, and that is me availing myself that let the music come through. You know.
Is it perhaps the issues that I remember that Putionela Mnana was addressing something about pianism, like being yourself, being naked, and addressing your vulnerabilities, because sometimes you can easily hide when there's a quartet that you're playing with, or when there's a nonet that you're playing with. But now, where you know it sort of takes a different direction, it is when you're all by yourself and you just cannot cheat that process, but it's more
Yeah.
like allowing you to bring out all your inner thoughts,
Yeah.
as a musician. And I would want to go back, to take you back just a few steps, when you're talking about you breaking out, from the narrative that you need to be like, you need to sound like, you need to do like. And because now this ties into your current role as a lecturer, because you will agree with me that university space, has a way in which it drives you to look a certain way, to play a certain way, and listening to your approach and how you sort of perceive it, it is quite integral in forming the newer generations who are liberated. And I'm interested in finding out, you know, um, the courage you had at the time, just breaking out and defying everything that was the norm, and actually breaking free, and to also how now that translates into you as a lecturer, equipping or empowering the new and future generations.
I missed you for most parts there because I think we got cut. You know.
Hmm.
Um, so, but if you can just phrase it and summarize the question for me again.
Yeah, no, it's just about how your perceptions translate into you being a lecturer and
Mm,
empowering students to own their
mm,
voice and
mm,
to actually be liberated. Because I'm taken
mm,
again to the lessons of Brazil. We told
mm,
that he would tell his students
mm,
that at a particular time, betray me, meaning that you will have to go against whatever I've told you, but to reach
mm,
out and to fulfill what is in your heart. So,
mm.
what you were just highlighting earlier, sort of brought up a number of things which really made me to ask you more about your approach, in terms of empowering, the generation that you have and future generations, particularly around the areas of them owning their voice.
Yeah, I think it is a very 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 important thing, you know, because even here at the university, I mean, what we are instilling in students is like, for example, my brother, we come from different communities, you know, and jazz comes from a particular culture as well, you know. So what we are working on is, and what I believe in, Oguti, the teachings of jazz or this music or any form of or any art form should be to better people in their vocabulary, you know, not not to convert people to sounding in particular ways that are accepted by particular cultures, you know,
Yeah,
because we are then running, like I had said before, we run to a danger of now trying to make copy of other people, you know. And with the little traveling that I've done, I've realized that we make better when we come in our differences,
yeah,
you know. And when we try to copy and be like others, and then it becomes a problem because our authentic voice does not come through, you know. And to me, that is not in favor. For example, I believe that like Babu Ngawane, they've played a huge role, in bringing their closer experiences, to the university. And then when they came here, they found Zulu cultural experiences that were brought also by, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
then
whole
this
coming together
majority
of
of
cultures.
individual, yes,
Mm.
and there's none that is superior to the other, but
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
all these differences. For example, as an artist now, I vibrate more through a dance, and I feel like my body vibrates more through dance. So that's why you see me with a shaker, because
yeah,
to me, the rhythm that I assign to my body, to my leg, you know, it is a different rhythm that is perhaps not similar to what I am playing, but its own entity, that I sometimes have to say, hey, wait, what am I tapping? What am I tapping? Because to me, that is like being absorbed to to whatever musical nuances I'll be hearing at that particular moment. And to
yeah,
me, that is informed by by the various musics that I've been listening to, from
yeah,
back at home in Bethel, when I came here listening to Abobu Ngawana, Abobabu Mseleku, when listening to Abobabu Moses Molelekwa. So, to me, these are all the sources of
yeah,
um, rhythms that I will be hearing then. And when I came here, I started hearing Yabona Kukhona Bakwashembe Nalana.
yeah, yeah.
Bayagida, and you're hearing all those
Mm,
nuances. So
mm,
what I'm saying is that we are fortunate that jazz is allowing us to be individuals in the music
yeah,
on to and to
yeah,
reflect our communities, in the music.
yeah,
To me, that is the best that jazz has ever done.
yeah. But we're gonna continue with this. We're gonna play a song, and then we're trying to switch back to the house. We broadcasting from a van because load shedding, hit us hard. Yeah, we're gonna be back in a moment. Let's continue playing the music, and then we will connect soon. We are playing you First Gospel by Tunzi Mvulu.
Ella, you are so good at this, bro.
Yeah, let's switch to
So,
let's switch back to there.
Ella, uyayisukela phansi. Uyayitheka le way. Hayi, ungasaying thanks. Abantu bakubona.
Uneza voice zeredi radio voice.
Oh, so you listening to the sounds.
Iphelele.
Yeah, because it's hard. It's not easy to make that stuff sound again. Yeah,
There's something that you press here.
that is true. Again. Like close to the door or something.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you, Babes. No, I can't hear you, Bab.